this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Hey, everybody. The official Big Bang Theory podcast is back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Each week, host Jessica Radloff speaks with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, Mayim Bialik, and Kevin Sussman. Hear about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines. Watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, and welcome to The Short Stuff. I'm Josh, and there's Chuck, and this is Short Stuff, the greatest generation of podcasts.
Caught me in mid-laugh from a pre-recording joke from Josh.
Thanks.
For mine ears.
Yep. And Jerry's, too.
That's right, but she's not laughing.
No, she's not. She's sulking.
All right, shall we talk about the Ritchie Boys?
Yeah, that was a great way to put it, because this is a World War II era story about a generally overlooked group that I was like, I've heard of these guys before. And then 60 Minutes was mentioned. I was like, that's what it was. I saw a really cool segment on the Ritchie Boys. There were 20,000, roughly, intelligence officers who were trained in the United States, who may or may not have been born in the United States, and were trained in counterintelligence, aerial photo analysis, all sorts of stuff that you would need to basically run an intelligence operation, which the U.S. badly needed at the outset of World War II, because we didn't really have a good amount of that.
Yeah, that's true. You mentioned some American-born. About 60% were American-born, which did include some Native American soldiers. The rest were it's a pretty incredible story. They were refugees a lot of times. A lot of times they were Jewish people from Germany, refugees, I think about 2,800 of which were of that 20,000 that, you know, they got out just before, or maybe they somehow got lucky and were granted the right to leave. People who may have lost their entire families in Nazi death camps. And so they came to the United States, sometimes Japanese citizens whose family were in internment camps, and they signed up for the U.S. Army to help defeat those Nazis.
Yeah, they were in American internment camps and still volunteered for the Army. That's really something, you know?
Also Ritchie girls, right?
Yeah, there were WACs, Women's Auxiliary Corps is what WAC stood for, but they were called WACs. And there were, just basically anybody you could think of who had any kind of specialty that made them kind of international to some degree, was probably recruited to do the 8-week program at Camp Ritchie, which was it started out, I guess, a National Guard camp in Maryland that the Army took over. The National Guard had zero say in that, and they turned it into this highly secretive intelligence training camp. It's exactly the kind of place that a movie is made about. Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't been. I'm sure it's in the works somewhere.
I believe so. It's Guy Ritchie's The Ritchie Boys, a film by Guy Ritchie. Coming soon.
So, like you said, it was an 8-week program. After that 8-week program at Ritchie, they were sent to England to get some more advanced intelligence training going, basically. And, you know, they were in supposedly every battle, every branch, and every unit that we had in World War II. They spread them out. None other than J.D. Salinger was a Ritchie boy, among some other notable people. But they got a lot of these people spoke foreign languages or were even taught foreign languages, and that was one of the big benefits of the Ritchie Boys is they could get in there for an interrogation, and they knew the local cultures. They could bond with someone, say, hey, let's have a cigarette and talk about the local soccer team or football or whatever they would say. And before you know it, they're getting more information than they would by, tying someone to a chair and beating them.
Right. They were also valued, like in the case of J.D. Salinger, because some of them could really spot a phony a mile away.
Yeah.
So they could suss out spies in their own ranks.
Good one.
So there were a few other things that they learned, a lot of other things, actually. Like I said, aerial photo analysis, which is handy if you were a pilot or if you were in touch with pilots and wanted to tell pilots what to go bomb or how to find things that were camouflaged pretty well, like how to spot like a plane that was under some of that cool like 3D camouflage netting. You would learn that at Camp Ritchie. If you wanted to learn how to kill a person with your bare hands, there was a former wrestler who trained people to do that at Camp Ritchie. Like they learned, again, anything that you can imagine in a World War II training movie montage. This actually went on at Camp Ritchie.
Yeah, it seems like intelligence was one of the big focuses. I think in the end they got about 60% of all actionable battlefield intelligence came from the Ritchie Boys and girls, and that's what they were called, by the way. The Red Book, a.k.a. the Order of Battle of the German Army, was a very big deal, and it was basically just an ongoing list of like everything they could learn about the German army. Anytime they would get documents or any kind of plans or anything, it would go into the Red Book, or they would, counterintelligence-wise, they would get this stuff. And it was, every unit that they had, who the leaders were, battles they had fought, how those went. It was just sort of the master book called the Red Book.
Right. I say we take a break and come back and talk some more about the Ritchie Boys.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments that matter, for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. Built for the busy days that turn into all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken.
Yeah, the times you're deep in your flow and the absolute last thing you need is an auto update throwing off your momentum. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to the way you actually work. Built with a long-lasting battery so you're not scrambling for the closest outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it.
That's right. They don't build tech just for tech's sake. They build it for you. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you.
Stuff you should know. All right, Chuck, there was something I wanted to toss in because I opted for a J.D. Salinger joke instead of a yes and to yours.
Okay.
That interrogation technique you talked about where like they were able to speak in like a local dialect and kind of commiserate with the prisoner to interrogate them. I saw another thing that they would use they would dress up as like Soviet officers and pose as a Soviet officer because German POWs were scared to death about being handed over to the Soviets because there were bad things awaiting them in the hands of the Soviets at a POW camp. So Ritchie Boys would show up dressed as Soviet officers saying, like, I'm going to take this prisoner into custody. And the Americans would be like, no, we think we can talk to him. You go away. The German would suddenly be very talkative about whatever the American interrogator wanted to know.
Pretty slick.
Yeah. They learned that at Camp Ritchie.
That's a new T-shirt. I learned it at Camp Ritchie.
Where did the name Ritchie Boys come from? I mean, obviously it came from Camp Ritchie, but did they call themselves that?
No, I think once they got to England, it was like, one of the Ritchie Boys has come over for more training, that kind of thing. Does that sound about right?
It does. And there were like specific specific stories that emerged from this. And some of the ones that like really stand out are where, like you said, there were German Jewish men who fled the Holocaust, whose families were killed in the Holocaust, who arrived in America as German nationals, volunteered for the army, went to Camp Ritchie, and then went back to Europe to fight the Nazis.
Yeah, one of those guys' name was Ernst Kramer. He was 18 years old, and he was at Buchenwald, and got out, was very lucky, got an affidavit for release to go to the United States, got here and was like, sign me up, and was a very, valuable Ritchie boy, I guess. He would write these pamphlets in German, urging German soldiers to surrender. And I believe he even set up a couple of newspapers that, in these German cities that had been just wiped out and bombed out after the war was over.
Yeah, that was a big part of liberation, was denazification, and to get the German people behind the process of denazification, you basically had to, one of the ways you did that was through the media. So they would set up independent newspapers in different towns that would be run by, some of the Ritchie boys. That was a really important part of it. There was another one, a guy named David Akira Itami. He's one of those people who himself, along with his family, was interned in a Japanese internment camp here in the United States, who volunteered to fight for the army. And he ended up going on to become the lead interpreter at the Japanese war crimes trials in Tokyo.
Wow.
Which was a really big deal.
Another big deal, we mentioned the Ritchie girls. There were about 200 of those that were from you mentioned the WAC, the Women's Auxiliary Corps. There were also 22 women who were instructors at Camp Ritchie. Mm-hmm. And a couple of them, were really, really notable. One's name was Sally Davis. She trained in the Order of the Battle, served with MacArthur. And then a woman named Lillian Tombacher in Europe was Eisenhower's Polish interpreter, his personal interpreter, and got a Bronze Star.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty great.
Yeah. Bronze Star.
The thing is, the Ritchie boys were largely, I don't know if it's secret. They were certainly secret during the war, but they weren't really well known until the mid-2000s. I think there was a German documentary in 2005 that really started to get people talking about them. So it's only fairly recently that that they've started to kind of get commendations. In 2022, the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum presented Ritchie Boys collectively with the Eli Wiesel Award, which is their highest honor. And I think in Congress there's a law. No, what's the word? A bill. I had to really dig back to my Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
As sitting on Capitol Hill that honors the Ritchie Boys and awards all of them the Congressional Gold Medal. And it hasn't passed yet, strangely.
Yeah. Well, 65 of them got silver stars, many, many bronze stars. But again, at the time, it was just like this is just someone else from the unit. They weren't designated as, this special group.
Right. What else you got?
I got nothing else. That's a quickie overview on what will surely be a movie.
Yeah, for sure. Look for it. And also, in the meantime, I'm sure you can find that 60-minute segment somewhere. It's definitely worth watching on the Ritchie Boys.
Yeah, get ready, Benedict Cumberbatch. You'll be leading the troops in England.
Yeah. Can you do your Benedict Cumberbatch talking about Ritchie Boys coming along to be trained?
No, I don't even know what he sounds like.
Pretty much what you did earlier.
Oh, okay.
He sounds like whatever you want him to sound like. That guy can do some pretty good dialects and accents.
Yeah. Although his American accent in the Doctor Strange stuff is a little wacky. I like his movies, but...
Oh, yeah?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, since we started going way off script and talking about Benedict Cumberbatch, and since there's not even a script in the first place, I think Short Stuff is out.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.